Hi there, welcome back, and if you are new around here, this is where I talk about music production, gear and other nerdy stuff, and today we are doing a comparison with the original M1 MacBook Pro and a AMD Ryzen 3900X system. It's the system I have been using in a lot of videos before. It's a few years old, but it is what it is. But before you click off this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the new M-based computers Apple have released. Maybe you're wondering if those are good enough for music production, and my short answer is absolutely. You can buy the lowest spec new Apple M-based computer out now, and it will be good enough for probably 95% of all users considering buying an Apple computer for music production. In my opinion, Apple, they did something right with their new CPU. A lot of tests are showing that, and you will actually see that in the tests I'm going to do later in this video as well. And when all third-party software are up to date, this will just fly. I am absolutely sure of that, and a lot of software is also updated today. If you get Logic as well, you will have everything you need to make a track in just one device, because the included instruments in Logic and sounds, they are really high quality, and I think frankly they are a little bit underappreciated. I used them in some of my tracks I have out on stock libraries, and those tracks are earning me some money. Not that much, but a little bit. The only thing you need to buy if you're going to record an external instrument, like a guitar or something like that, is an audio interface. And you can buy a cheap audio interface from Focusrite, for example. It costs a few $100s, I think. I will leave a sponsored link in the description below so you can check it out, something I recommend. One thing I just want to mention is if you're going to record a lot of audio, meaning guitars, synthesizers, keyboards, I don't know. But in essence, if you're creating a lot of audio files on your computer, you have to make sure that you have enough storage space on the computer you're going for, because you can't upgrade the storage on a Mac you buy today. You can add an external fast SSD if you happen to use up the internal space. But make sure you pick the right amount of storage before you go out and buy one of the new Macs. If you're thinking about memory, you have to think about a little bit about how many tracks you're going to use in your session. If you're going to use a lot of tracks, let's say 30, 40, 50 tracks, I would probably go for 16 gigabytes. If you're just using a few tracks, 10, maybe 12, I think 8 gigabytes is enough. So I hope that helps, at least if you clicked on this video and you were wondering about what kind of Mac you are going to buy. So that was a little talk about the M1 Macs. They are really good in my opinion. I really like them, but I prefer to produce music on my PC and Windows, and I know, yeah, a Mac is a PC, I know, but that's just how things are right now, and that's just how I like to do it. But you wanted to see a comparison, that's why you clicked on this video, and we are going to do that now. As I have done before, I'm going to show you the MacBook Pro first. So the way I wanted to do this comparison, and you may disagree with that, and that's fine, leave a comment below if you want me to do it another way, and I can do that. But I wanted to attack this from a user perspective, meaning I have a plugin, let's say Serum. I want to see how that plugin works in Logic, and I want to see how that plugin works in Ableton Live on a PC. And that's basically it. Buffer settings, memory settings, CPU overclocking, things like that. No, we're not talking about that today. I'm going to show you I'm going to try to match the settings between Logic and Ableton Live in terms of buffer size, so I can show you what I have here going on in Logic. We have a buffer size of 256, and we are going to try 32 later on in the video, so you can just click later on if you want to see that. So 256 right now, and I have the only thing I have changed here, I have manually changed to 8 and for high performance cores here, and then we have process buffer range medium, and everything here is as default. The plugin I use is the latest version of Serum as per recording of this video. I use a included preset called Crushed Pluck, and I have gone into the FX section and I have disabled the delay because it created a strange sound when I had so many tracks. And on global here, the oscillator settings are on 2x. In addition to that, I have, if I press A, I have an automation going here. So it's automating the cutoff on the synthesizer. So it opens up here and it goes down and it just loops. So that's what we are doing. And I was able to see that the Mac was able to play 83 tracks. If I added one more track here, we would get CPU overload. So if I play this back now, we can if you can listen to the audio, you can hear that the audio have no crackles, no lag, no kind of weird things going. So let's just play it back, and you can also take a look at the CPU meter here. And you have to play it a few times because it can time out after a while. Okay, it looks like it's working. 83 tracks. So that's 83 Serum tracks. But it's not only that, it's detuned or unisoned as well at 8x here. So it's actually quite demanding on the CPU. One thing I want you to also understand that when I'm going to play this now, and I'm going to open up my activity monitor here, and you can see the CPU usage here, how high that one is. Let's take a look. And try to remember that when we are going to check the Ryzen system afterwards. Okay, so we can see that the CPU utilization is on the roof, at least here in Logic, but this is the audio buffer range, and the CPU here is the entire CPU for the entire system, and we can see here that Logic is using 74-75% of the available CPU power, and I think that efficiency is really good. It looks like that, at least. And I'm not sure if my PC had that good efficiency, so we'll take a look at that later on. But before we do that, I also want to just open up a track I made with the M1 MacBook Pro, in some hotel I was in a few years ago. So there's one thing of just pasting a lot of tracks and having one instrument is not really showing a real life project, and I know that. So here is just one of my projects I have been I just made this on the Mac, and this is a real project that's out there. It's a stock track which I have sold, and it's finished and everything. And this may be just more a real life show, if you will, so I can just play it back and you can take a look at the CPU and everything and see what's happening here. So I'm using less than 50% of the CPU, and I have, I don't know how many tracks are there, 12 maybe. And if you take a look here on my mixer channel, I have a lot of plugins. We have a compressor included in Logic. We have a EQ included in Logic. We have some plugins from FabFilter. I love the FabFilter plugins. So here is the multiband compressor. And we have an exciter, and we have also actually the Saturn. And this is a saturation plugin I like, also from FabFilter. I really like FabFilter. Not sponsored, by the way. I just like them because they are very not annoying when it comes to copyright. That's yeah. And the audio quality is good as well. So yeah, this is a track. It works really well, and the specs of this Mac is, let's say, it's a 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro from 2020. I have 16 gigabytes of memory, and I have 1 terabyte of storage. And yeah, so that's how this M1 Mac performs. Remember, it was around 83 tracks. And now we are going to go back to the PC, and I'm going to show you how my PC is performing in regards of this. So let's take a look. Okay, so now we have Ableton Live loaded up, and I have the project here. And as for settings, it's more or less the same settings as in Logic. I have 256 samples and 48 kilohertz. And that's basically it. I have loaded up the same Serum settings as in the Mac. It's the same version. Well, it's the Windows version, but it's the same version. And I also have the same plugin here, or the same preset with the delay disabled. And we also have some automation going on here, automating the cutoff, just like on the Apple computer. So if I play this back now, take a listen to how it sounds. So it sounds a little bit laggy, right? You agree with that? Let's take a look at the CPU. So only using about 63-64% of the CPU, and we have this kind of lag sound. So we have to reduce the tracks, I think. Let's try to reduce them. I actually haven't done this, so let's take off 10 tracks. Let's see how it sounds. A little bit better, but it's still laggy. Let's reduce to the amount of tracks the Apple computer was able to handle. 83, I think it was. Let's check the CPU usage. It's 40. Okay, so that was strange. It sounds a little bit laggy if you ask me. Let's reduce it to 80 then, see how that works. It's very strange. It kind of works, but it's kind of sounds very strange. I don't know why. Let's try to restart the audio engine. We have the same. Very strange. Okay, well, let's reduce it to 70 tracks then. See how that works. You hear that lag? I'm not sure if I'm doing anything wrong here. It's 48 kilohertz, it's 256 samples, it's it's yeah, it looks all right. So we are way below the Mac now. So the M1 Mac sounded, you probably agree that it didn't sound that bad. So it sounded, I mean, you didn't have that lag. It sounded right. So let's just go down to 60 then. Still laggy. Let's go down to 50. I think it has to be something wrong here because it shouldn't sound like that. Let's go down to 30 then. This sounds all right. You agree with that, I guess? 30 tracks. Okay, that sounds all right. Let's increase it by 10 and get to 40 tracks. Let's listen. No, we have some kind of lag there. I don't know if you hear it on the video, but it's really strange. So let's take it down to 35 then. See how that works. So 35 tracks sounds all right, and to be completely honest, I'm not sure why you have that kind of lag there in the sound. If anyone knows, tell me. I think it's really strange. So this is Serum, comparing Serum on Ableton Live 10 with a M1 Mac using Serum. So the M1 Mac using Serum was able to play 83 tracks and it sounded flawless. The Mac didn't have any kind of lag. It worked just fine. So if I just was a regular user, I took a PC, I downloaded Serum, and I see here that okay, it can play 35 tracks. And if I use Serum on my M1 Mac, I see it can play 83 tracks. So, is the M1 Mac better than my Ryzen PC? Well, it's really not the right comparison. I know that. I know no one is using 83 Serum tracks with the same plugin. It's not really a real world kind of thing. If we are going to have a real world test, I have to probably make a track in Ableton Live and make the same track in Logic, and I don't want to do that. It will take so long time. So you have to take this video for what it is. I just think this is interesting, and I'm curious just how things are working. But I have an inkling on the efficiency, and the power of the M1 Mac is really good if the software is able to take advantage of it. And Steve Judah, who has made Serum, he is a really smart guy, so I think he's been able to program it so it's able to take advantage of all the power you have in the M1 Mac. And I also think that if we see in this video that the M1 Mac is also have a higher efficiency, it's able to utilize more of the available power compared to my PC here. I don't think Serum here is able to actually use all available power, or maybe not Serum, maybe it's Ableton Live, I don't know. But if you go for a Mac for music production, it is perfectly fine, and it's going to go just fine in my opinion. So I hope that's a takeaway you can take from this video. And even though the testing methodology is a little bit, well, not real or whatever, it's at least something. Now I'm going to show you the Mac using lower buffer settings, or we can take a look at the PC first. Just reduce the buffer. Okay, I had some issues setting it at 48 samples, but it's on 48 samples here now. I had to restart Ableton Live. I can hear a little bit of crackle there, so I guess that if we reduce it to, let's say, 20 tracks, it's going to work just fine, or let's say 30 tracks. So if we reduce it to 30, we play with 48 samples. So I can hear a little bit audio crackling there. I'm not sure if that goes through the thingy's audio routing onto your headset or your speakers, you sitting there on the other side of the YouTube screen. Anyways, I think that if we just take it down to 25, actually it crackles at 25 as well. Yeah, nice. Let's take it to 20. I hear a little crackle at... Anyways, I'm not sure if everything is set up correctly, or maybe I have something wrong with my system. Maybe someone can do the same test, download the same serum, and just make a try to see how it works, if they have an AMD system at least. Because I see here at the audio process range, it's just on 24%. So that means it should really work. But then again, this is not really a real world test, honestly. But that's what you do when you have a PC. You have to troubleshoot sometimes, and yeah, that's the way things are, but not with the Mac. So let's take the camera, go down with the Mac, reduce the buffer range there, and just see how that works. So opening my Logic project here again, and we can see we are on the edge of what it's able to handle. So we are going to see a buffer overload there, system overload. So 80, but still here we have 83 tracks, and mind you, this was the same settings as the Serum settings I had on my PC. So let's reduce it to 80. Let's just see how that works. That should work, hopefully. So that works. So I'm trying to do this as real life as possible. You know, I have my email open, I have my iMessage open, and Safari and Discord, things like that. Just trying to do it real life. But now we're going to try the low buffer range, as I said. So I can set it to 32 here, and let's set the process buffer range to small and apply and see how it's able to handle that. And that's because you want to have as low buffer range as possible when you're recording instruments. So, but anyways, let's see how it works. So running in low buffer range seems to work fine on the M1 Mac with 80 tracks. And I know someone said in another video I made that the Logic may be dynamically adjusting the buffer range. so it works anyway if you have a low buffer size here. But I'm not sure about that, and again, this is kind of a user perspective video, if you will. I hope this showed you a little bit how these devices are performing. Now we are going to get back to my face. Some closing thoughts then. So if you clicked on this video wondering if you should buy a PC or if you should buy a Mac for music production, I'm really not the one to tell you what you should buy. I can just show you what happens when I use these two systems, and you have to make the decisions for yourself. I use a PC because I like building PCs, I like some occasional gaming, and I have other things I do as music production as well that doesn't work that good on a Mac. So that's why I use a PC, and my PC is certainly able to handle the projects I throw at them. I don't have projects with 40 Serum tracks, so it works just fine. But if you are a new person that you just want a computer that works good with music production and you don't really want to tinker that much or go around the settings and things like that, buying one of the new Apple products for that particular case, I think that's a good choice. Also using Logic, that's a really powerful, really great DAW, and it will serve you well for many years to come. And this is another thing I like with Apple products, like Logic, is when you buy it, you own it. You don't have to pay a subscription fee every second year or every month or everything. You have bought Logic, you get Apple release a lot of updates on Logic. They actually bought a synth company, a soft synth company, and they released Logic 10. I don't know, it was 10.2 from 10.3, and on 10.3 they had this new Alchemy synthesizer. It's a really great synthesizer, and you just got it with an update, and you didn't have to pay anything for it or anything. So I think a Mac is a really great choice if you are a new user or if you just want something that works. I mean, I have another YouTuber I follow on YouTube. He is called Stock Music Licensing. He has built his business, what he lives on. He actually makes money, and he do this for his work. And I think he had a MacBook Pro from 2012 or something up until a few months ago when he changed to the M1. So it's no brainer really. But that's my opinion. You may have another opinion. You're welcome to type it down in the description below, or not description, the comments. Just make it civil, be nice, be friendly. That's the only thing I want around here. You can tell me that I am wrong, but do it in a nice way. So, I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.